All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're breaking down the core, absolute game-changing concepts of the Total Money Makeover. Look, if we really want to fix our money, we have to identify the actual root of all our financial struggles, at least according to the source material we're looking at today. And spoiler alert here, it's not the economy, it's not your boss, and it's definitely not a lack of fancy academic theories.
The entire philosophy actually boils down to this one incredible quote. Winning at money is 80% behavior and 20% head knowledge. Seriously, that is the secret sauce right there. Financial success, it isn't about having some incredibly complex understanding of calculus or holding a degree in economics. It's almost entirely about modifying our daily routine behavior. I mean, think about it. Most of us already know what we're technically supposed to do, right? Spend less than you make. But actually doing it in the real world, well, that's exactly where we trip up.
So this brings us to a pretty crucial question. Are you ready to take on the person in the mirror? The text uses this very direct, kind of harsh wake-up call that you are the main problem with your money. But honestly, that's incredibly empowering news because it means you're also the ultimate solution to your money woes. If you can just learn to manage the character you shave or put makeup on with every single morning, you can absolutely win at this.
Okay, let's jump into Section 1, Denial and Financial Flab.
You know, it is incredibly easy to slip into this sort of cultural complacency, especially when you look at staggering statistics like this one. 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 70%. That exposes the absolute danger of thinking that being normal is totally fine. Because normal is actually broke. Normal is sitting at your kitchen table at the very end of the month, stressed out of your mind, wondering where on earth all the money went. If you want to win, you literally have to stop aiming for normal.
And I absolutely love this vivid metaphor from the text. Even a turkey can fly in a tornado. So what does that actually mean? Well, it means that when the economy is booming and everything's going great, you can do some pretty dumb things with your money. You can get sloppy, take massive risks, and somehow still seem completely okay. Good economic times act like a smokescreen. They temporarily hide incredibly stupid and risky financial habits. But man, when a real economic storm finally hits, the turkeys fall hard. Moving right along to Section 2, Busted, Major Debt Myths. Let's tear down some lies.
Our culture is constantly selling us these incredibly toxic lies about debt. First up is this widespread myth that debt is a tool used to create prosperity. The truth? Debt just adds massive risk to your life, and it honestly isn't used by the truly wealthy nearly as much as we are led to believe. The source points out a crazy stat. When surveyed, 75% of the Forbes 400 wealthiest people said the #1 best way to build wealth is to become and stay debt-free. True millionaires actively avoid debt. They know that your largest wealth-building asset is your own income, not borrowing other people's money.
Oh, and here is another huge one. The myth that car payments are just a permanent way of life, that you're literally always going to have one. The actual truth is that millionaires buy reliable, used cars with cash. Taking on a huge car payment is absolutely one of the quickest ways to totally destroy your chances of building wealth. Just think about the sheer absurdity of losing $17,000 in car value over 4 years, all just to have that new car smell. The truly wealthy completely refuse to participate in this cycle of fleecing.
Let's look at this genuinely shocking number, $1,800. This perfectly exposes those predatory rent-to-own schemes. People who lack the patience to just save up the cash end up paying $1,800 over time for a used washer and dryer that they literally could have bought outright for $200. It's a classic, super painful example of how wanting things right now, in this exact moment, keeps you broke. And finally, we have the myth that you absolutely unconditionally need a credit card to survive in the modern world, to rent cars or buy things online. The truth? A debit card connected to your checking account does the exact same thing, except it's not going to put you into debt. The source material is fierce about this, fiercely advocating for cutting up those credit cards entirely. They point out studies showing people spend 47% more when using credit instead of cash. It literally hurts your brain less to swipe a piece of plastic than to physically hand over cold, hard bills.
Which brings us to Section 3, the Baby Steps Plan. This is your roadmap to peace. Now let's shift gears from agitating the problem to actually looking at the solution. The plan breaks down this massive, overwhelming goal of wealth building into bite-sized, chronological missions. You do them in exact order. Step 1, save a starter emergency fund. Step 2, pay off all your debt. Step 3, save 3 to 6 months of expenses. Step 4, invest for retirement. Step 5, save for the kids' college. Step 6, pay off the house. And finally, Step 7, build wealth and give.
Let's focus heavily on baby step 1 for a second. Your very first mission is getting a $1,000 emergency fund together as fast as humanly possible. Why? Well, it's to stop that endless cycle of relying on credit for tiny crises. So when the alternator inevitably dies or the kid gets sick, you have the actual cash. It puts a much-needed buffer between you and life so you don't keep digging a deeper hole while you're trying to get out of debt.
All right, Section 4, Gazelle Intensity, running for your life. Listen, you cannot just casually stroll your way through this plan and expect it to magically work. The source uses this incredible, vivid metaphor. You have to run from debt like a gazelle escaping a cheetah. When a gazelle gets even a tiny whiff of a cheetah, it freezes, and then it runs for its literal life with massive, single-minded focus. That is exactly the intense life-or-death energy required to break free from the heavy gravity of debt. You basically have to get mad at your debt.
So how do we practically apply this level of intensity? It basically requires 3 distinct behavioral shifts to take back control of your income. Number 1, stop all borrowing immediately. Just cut it off. Number 2, create a strict, written budget every single month. You have to tell your money where to go instead of wandering around wondering where it went. And number 3, attack those debts with massive, focused intensity. Sell things, work extra jobs, go deliver pizzas, do literally whatever it takes to clear the slate.
And that leads to Section 5, live like no one else, the ultimate payoff.
So how does all this intense, crazy hard work actually pay off? It comes down to the core motto of the entire framework. If you will live like no one else, later you can live like no one else. You have to accept short-term sacrifice right now. You have to be totally okay with societal weirdness. Driving a beater car, saying no to fancy vacations, skipping the restaurant. So that later on, you can achieve the kind of long-term wealth and freedom that normal people will simply never, ever experience.
And what does living like no one else later actually look like? Well, it looks like total freedom from payments. It means having the ability to retire with dignity and security, totally without relying on the government to save you, and perhaps most excitingly, it gives you the absolute power to give generously. Reaching that final baby step legitimately puts you in the top 2% of Americans. Your income just transforms into this unstoppable wealth-building and giving machine.
So, there you have it. We've outlined the problem, busted the toxic myths, and laid out the proven plan from the text. The source material leaves us with one final, incredibly provocative challenge. It says anyone can do this. It's really just common sense. But are you next? Are you finally ready to look in the mirror, take total responsibility, and start your own money makeover immediately? The choice is entirely up to you.